You ever wanted to learn to make your own gaming board? Let's go find out about that. So that's why we've driven to the Forge in Chaska, which is my personal favorite hobby store. I gotta say, I'm really stoked to learn about this. I've always been interested in display boards and other gaming boards of the such, but also I'm notoriously lazy. So it'll be cool to kind of get some tips, and hopefully it'll be something to kind of get you started. Now, this isn't going to be a step-by-step tutorial by any means. It's just going to kind of be a good starting point to maybe, if it's something that you're interested in, to get started on and to kind of have an idea of where to go. So let's find out.
Today's video is sponsored by The Forge for all your hobby nerd needs. Whether it's Warhammer 40k, Age of Sigmar, Marvel Crisis Protocol, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Lorcana, and a plethora of board games, The Forge has what you need. The Forge has been my go-to shop, and the inventory has only grown. If there's something you don't see on the shelves, fill out a product request form on their website. Thank you to The Forge for sponsoring this video.
I'm James with Tattoo Tabletop, and I am here with Bert, the store owner of The Forge, one of my favorite stores, and you've probably seen my sponsorships. Also, I need to update that. The store has changed drastically. But, like I mentioned, today's not going to be a tutorial more so, but it's going to be something that we're going to kind of explore together, where it's, if you're interested in designing a board, such as this in front of us, this will kind of give you a rough idea. So, Bert, introduce yourself. How long have you been doing boards like this?
My name's Bert. I've been doing this for a long time. Probably like 8-9 years. This one's in a very early stage, but we're doing Trench Crusade. Really excited about it. Just got kickstarted a couple of months ago. Today we're going to be building as much as we can. We got basically the little pieces done last night, the messy stuff. So today we're just going to work on it and have some folks come in and see if they liked this stuff too.
It's super awesome. This is actually a class that he's teaching, and hopefully there's plenty of people interested, so we can keep doing it, so I can honestly keep getting tips. But just for kind of people to kind of get them started, starting material, what did you use to kind of just like frame this all out?
Just pink insulation foam, the hard stuff from Home Depot. Get the cheapest one you can and double it up if you want to, or you can get the thick stuff and it's a little bit more expensive. And then we just covered it in grout with a little bit of color in it, and then we got some stir sticks from Home Depot as well, and that's kind of the skeleton of it. And then today we do all the cool little like accoutrement, and that's going to be anything that would look like on a battlefield, a World War I battlefield. We got to finish up the trenches, do some washes, some highlights, and then probably add like an ash over the top of it. We'll do all the dark stuff first, go as light as we can on the top, and then go from there.
Yeah, perfect. I was actually also curious, like, are these just like little paint sticks here? They're stained, so they give it that extra feel. So I mean, that's just kind of a nice little great start, because I think that's always been kind of the hardest part for me, just thinking about like a display board or anything like that. Like, I just don't know where to start. There's 8 million videos on building those display boards, but they always reference something that's like from a specific store, and it always throws me off personally. Always drives me nuts. But I think that'll get us started here. So I will have plenty of footage coming up here shortly that's going to go through. We're going to paint it. We're going to go through all that and get some footage, and I'll have some nice voiceover, so we'll just hop on to the next thing. You know what we're going to do? We're going to go paint something.
All right.
You see that? I did the thing.
Now, normally this is where a video would go and start describing the process on how to build the board, but I'm not going to lie. As I was filming Bert teaching this class, teaching members of our community how to build a display board and how they can accomplish this thing that they're trying to do, I realized that this was no longer the focus of the video. It wasn't to teach you how to do a display board or how to make a display board. There's plenty of videos out there that cover that. This really turned into a community and a community effort, because what you're going to see here is you see these videos and these clips that I took of the class that day, where like right now Bert's combining the brown paint and some of the black acrylic paint to get a specific texture, and it could be just one thing where he just mixes up the paint, stirs it around, gets the consistency that he's looking for, and then just paints as he describes this entire process to these people. But he does more than that. He ends up handing the paintbrush to the members of the community. He puts the power in their hands to actually start contributing to making this board their own. And that's something that's huge throughout this video. And this is where the video truly changed. I realized that this isn't about just making a display board and how to do it. It's about making a community and how to make that. this really shifted as I've started filming all this footage and seeing like the splatters and everything like that. And he was letting the members of the community let their imagination run wild to just do whatever they thought would look cool. What did you think? Like, oh, well, what do you think this should be? He's like, oh, well, here's a technique that I use to add different variations to the dirt so that it has a different finish and it kind of has that more natural, earthy tone or texture. Here, guys, you try it. Maybe splatter it around, maybe paint some of it on the edge, do some light dry brushing here, stuff like that. This is what this and these communities should always be about. I know obviously not every hobby store has the space or the ability to do these things, but if there's a hobby store out there and you're a hobby store person, maybe you're someone who goes to a local hobby store, or maybe you own a hobby store and you see this video, I'd encourage you to do this. It was really cool to see the community get involved in this process and add blood spatter and stuff like that. Like here we see one of the guys tries to get a little blood spatter on the corner by flicking the brush in, but then we all share our own tips, like, oh, we fan the brush or something like that, or you can blow on it really hard or something like that. It was just everybody contributing to this board and making it what it is, what it becomes eventually, and you'll see a good process of it. It didn't finish here, but you know, it did some really cool things. Like one guy came up with that blood spatter idea where it just drags along. It's just such a cool thing to witness. As someone who has been involved in this hobby community for a long time, this was a unique experience of mine to get to watch these people put this board together and to come up with ideas. Like even that crater right there was a last second ad where it's like, you know what, that's a good point. There should be some craters from like artillery strikes and stuff like that. And even some ideas like this where he did this kind of like iron, you know, copper ochre color on there. He eventually was like, I don't know if that worked. And then they all brainstormed together what to do about it, how to change it, what colors to use, what to contribute. And before I knew it, all of us were building parts of the terrain. At one point, we started making ramps and places to cross. We started making steps and ladders to pop over. Sometimes we just looked really closely into Trent's eyes. But this, by far, was the coolest part, when we got to turn on the lights on the cross. In the end, this video ended up being so much more. It wasn't how to make a display board. It was how to make a community. I'm Tattoo Tabletop. Now go paint something.